February 23rd, 1999. Mr. Wallas. The above-named individual was admitted to this facility January 9th, 1995 for the 11th time. He was subsequently transferred to Binion Building at Central State Hospital March 9th, 1998, pursuant to his physically attacking and sexually assaulting a peer who is deaf and mute. During his admission, Mr. Wallas was manipulative and sneaky. He was constantly intrusive, periodically physically aggressive, made escape attempts, and was sexually promiscuous. He minimized his HIV disease and the potential danger that it might pose to others if engaging in unprotected sex. He was also reluctant to assume responsibility for his inappropriate behaviors. Over time, his behavior became progressively more difficult to control, despite the use of a wide range of interventions. Examples: loss of privileges, seclusion, restraints, one-on-one observation, patient education, counseling, etc., which had little, if any, long-term positive results in attempting to set appropriate limits on his dangerous behaviors. Below is a list that occurred during Mr. Wallas's last admission. 1/9/95. Struck staff member and was placed in seclusion and restraints. 5/23/95. Left group without permission while on staff accompanied outing. 8/28/95. Observed by another patient engaging in oral sex. Was restricted to unit and assumed no responsibility, stating, "I'm gonna have my fun." 9/13/95. Refused to participate in scheduled group activity. 10/7/95. Attempted to escape by climbing the fence behind forensic unit. Yard privileges were revoked. 12/14/95. Notified by another unit staff member that patient preparing to have sex with female patient in bushes beside unit. Mr. Wallas left area when approached by FST and denied incident. However, Mr. Wallas's pants were unzipped when he was apprehended. Camper's privileges were revoked. 12/20/95. Verbalized, "I have feelings for you," to a female staff member. 1/13/96. Placed on one-on-one line-of-sight observations when in bathroom due to his sexual activity with other patients. 2/18/96. Observed peering into female's bathroom. Redirected by staff. Patient laughs about the incident. 2/19/96. Escorted to unit from HIV educational program as he threatened to leave the area. 2/19/96. Tried to kiss a female patient and was redirected by staff. 2/19/96. Placed on one-to-one observation when bathing. 4/14/96. Refuses to take meds or to have vital signs taken. 5/22/96. Screaming, uncooperative behavior, would not stay in quiet room, and was placed in seclusion and restraints. 8/20/96. Expressed suicidal ideation and placed on suicide precautions. 10/10/96. Patient called 911 stating he had been in a fight and nothing was being done about it. Later admitted to doing so. 11/9/96. Observed in bathroom kissing another patient. 1/13/97. Tells female patient he loves her, verbally redirected by staff. 2/2/97. Playfully grabs staff member's name tag, resulting in staff member receiving a scratch. 2/5/97. Agitating other patient. Refused to be verbally redirected and given Ativan. 2/26/97. Attempted to pull another patient into bathroom. Staff intervened. Privileges revoked. 2 hours later, he attempted to pull another patient into the bathroom. 2/27/97. Put both fingers in his nose and then wiped fingers on staff member's shoulders, stating, "You don't want to touch because I have AIDS." 4/15/97. Restricted to unit for refusing meds and vital signs. 5/13/97. Placed in seclusion and restraints due to disruptive, threatening, and combative behavior. 6/13/97. Placed in quiet room due to his standing in doorway of female's bedroom and being disruptive. 3/14/98. Confronted by staff member after reports of having oral sex with another patient in shower the night before. Hit the other patient on the jaw. Mr. Wallas denies the incident. 3-498. Patient placed in wrist-to-waist restraints due to his physical and sexual assault of a peer. Mr. Wallas laughs, jumps up and down when telling other patients about the incident. 3-598. Restraints removed. Patient laughs and says, "I raise hell when I do. It's like nobody else." 3-598. Placed on close observation. 3-698. Placed on line of sight observation. 3-998. Transferred to Central State Hospital. The victim of the incident which precipitated Mr. Wallas's transfer remains in our care and continues to be vulnerable. It is my opinion that Mr. Wallas's treatment needs can be best managed by him remaining in a maximum security setting for his protection, as well as for the protection of others. Please call me if further discussion on this case is needed. Thank you. Hello. Welcome to my next video. The excerpt you just listened to was from the file of Mr. Wallas, a patient who was admitted to the Richard Binion Forensic Psychiatric Facility. Built in the early 1940s and later closing in the early 2000s, this hospital held those who were criminally insane. While there isn't much left inside, this hospital was unique in its design as it was part of the larger Central State Hospital campus in Georgia. Let's take a look inside and see what's left. Hey, what's up everybody? Corman Explores here with another video. Today, I am inside an abandoned forensic psychiatric center that closed, I believe, in the early 2000s. It is part of a much larger state hospital campus. It is called the Binion facility. And this treated the criminally insane. If they were mentally adjudicated, they were declared criminally insane, they would be sent here and they would receive treatment. This is going to be a pretty short one. The hallways are pretty much identical. There's a few cool finds in here though, and I hope you enjoy it, so let's go take a look and see what's left. All right, so we're starting things out on the second floor. As you'll see, everything's pretty much gone, but they do have some decent finds in here. I wonder if this says, no, this doesn't say it. This is one of the dormitories for the building. So open air or open living areas for patients instead of the more common cells that we'll show you in a little bit. This would allow patients the freedom to move around in a less restrictive environment while still in a highly secure facility. Here we go, 2S Storm. I think this is roof access. I'm not sure if this opens up or not. And it does. You'll see we got the, these are prison locks essentially. Don't want to let that close on me. See, it's a caged in area. And I think this may have been for staff to transfer in between the buildings. If you look at over here, we'll go out here a little bit later. It's the patient courtyard. Got some patient chairs out there, a basketball hoop, and the whole top is covered in razor wire. But we'll show that to you a little bit later on. Here's my
passive aggressive sign I've ever seen.
What'd you find?
It's hilarious. It's like that passive aggressive signage where they're sick of somebody doing something stupid all the time. What I love this. And it had to be for staff. It wasn't necessarily for the patients.
Oh, probably. It's funny.
I love it. There's some Bible stuff over there on that windowsill.
Vital signs?
Bible stuff.
Oh.
Well, I guess like patient remnants or whatever.
I see. Today is Tuesday. The date is the 10th. The weather is warm.
Whoa,
oh, sorry.
Why are you erroring now?
And this is one of the patient wards right over here. As you can see, they got some pretty cool seclusion wards. Of course, someone spray painted, but these have little bubbles on the inside and no handle. So patient would be secluded in here if they were acting out. You just lock them in with the deadbolt and then close these two right here. And then they'd be locked inside and you can look in, see if they were misbehaving. You got a few like that here. Here's another. Nice artwork as well right here. A little water fountain over here. These were probably patient rooms as well. The cell types. Over here is another style of a prison lock to separate the wards. Very secure doors. Got some tags. Nothing too special. It's pretty much a copycat on the lower level. We'll go check that out. Chad, I'm going downstairs. Chad, I'm going downstairs. It's right over here. Sorry, it's a bit strange, but there's an anti-suicide stairwell. Prevent patients from trying to kill themselves by jumping over the side. Over here is a cafeteria. You'll notice that the seating is prison style. Very cool though. And we're gonna come over here and this is Sally. Oh, this isn't the one I was thinking of. It's actually right through there. This is the Sally port. Again, you have those prison style doors with the roller locks. They would get buzzed in, so only one door would open at a time to prevent an escape. Here you got the plaque. Richard Binion Building, beautiful plaque. Built in 1946, which is reminiscent of some of these windows right here. Old style rectangle. Usually come in pairs of 6. I've never seen them that high before. Still really cool. So you'd have your front desk right here, check in. Staff would check in here, get their keys for their wards. Then you'd have a security room right here. Control rooms. Control the different doors. Right here. They would radio if they needed help unlocking or locking doors. And the person would open them using these. Whoever was sitting in here. So, I go down this hallway. The decay in here is incredible. Despite the graffiti, it's relatively clean for the most part. And you'll see that when we go out into these rec yards. The rec yards are incredible. They're beautiful. And there's a station over here. Another little kitchen area, maybe a group room. This is the rec yard. Now this is a very old patient chair. They would fill them up with water so you couldn't throw them. I've seen very few of these. They have a few of them in some asylums up New York, but these are very rare to find. They come in multicolors, red, blue, pink, orange. Looks like they had a volleyball net up at some point over here. And basketball and a hoop. That's deflated. Still really cool though. And over here in the tucked away in the corners are more of those jail cafeteria style seatings. Just sit in the corner. Relax for a little bit. And then all along the perimeter of the roof, you'll notice is barbed wire, as well as a loudspeaker. And right up there, the eye in the sky, the security camera. I think they had one on that corner, and they should have one on that corner as well. It's more prominent in the other yard, but still really cool. I mean, for the most part, that's about it. Like I said before, the buildings are mostly the same, or the hallways, pretty much identical copies of each other. And now it's, there we go. Yeah, so that's about it. Alrighty, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that quick walkthrough of this forensic psychiatric center. I'm sorry, pretty quick, not much to see, but still a cool piece of history. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, share, comment, subscribe to all that fun stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.